Erase negative thoughts from the mind. Stoic wisdom. There is a war inside you. Not the kind the world can see. Not the kind that leaves bruises on the skin. Not the kind people gather around and ask about. This war is quieter. It begins in the dark moments. When the room is silent. When the phone is down. When the laughter fades. When the world stops distracting you long enough for the mind to speak. And when it speaks, it does not always speak kindly. It reminds you of what went wrong. It replays the embarrassment. It sharpens the insult. It magnifies the rejection. It whispers the fear. It predicts the worst. It tells you what you lost. It tells you who left. It tells you that you are behind. It tells you that you are weak. It tells you that maybe you will never become who you hope to be, and because it sounds like your own voice, you believe it. That is the cruelest part. The enemy does not always come from outside. Sometimes it lives in your own thinking. Sometimes it wears the mask of memory. Sometimes it hides in anxiety. Sometimes it calls itself caution. Sometimes it pretends to be wisdom. But it is not wisdom. It is mental poison. Negative thoughts do not arrive like a storm you can see from miles away. They come like drops. Small, subtle, barely noticed. One thought, one fear, one comparison, one regret, one doubt, one replayed conversation, one imagined failure. And before you know it, the drops become a flood that drowns your peace, a flood that steals your focus, a flood that weakens your courage, a flood that convinces you life is heavier than it truly is. Most people never realize what is happening. They think the world is attacking them, when in truth, their interpretation of the world is what is torturing them. This is what the Stoics understood thousands of years ago. They understood that a person can be surrounded by comfort and still suffer. They understood that a person can be surrounded by difficulty and still remain calm. They understood that suffering is not always caused by events, but by the mind's relationship to those events. And if the mind can create a prison, the mind can also build a sanctuary. That is what this journey is about. Not suppressing your thoughts, not pretending pain does not exist, not becoming cold, not becoming emotionless, not escaping reality. Know this.